Inherent Vice is a very good film.
Yep.
I think visually it's incredibly strong. I think the acting's great. The setting, locale, themes are really interesting. It is just a confusing mess. It helps if you don't think about the story.
Yep.
You're probably best not thinking about it, which for some people is going to be really frustrating.
Yep.
For others, it's going to be like a nirvana.
Yep.
You know, because you're just seeing these amazing images and amazing scenes play out, and you know, individually, all the scenes in Inherent Vice are like the little mini masterpieces.
Yep.
My issue is that I don't know. I was just a bit lost.
I had no issue with the film. I thought it was amazing.
Incidentally, there were about 5 walkouts in my screen.
Yeah, I assumed there would be.
Yeah.
It was really. I saw this twice actually. I loved it both times. On the first screening, it didn't go down pretty well. Me and my mate loved it, but pretty much everyone had seen it. No one laughed her out.
Oh, really? See, like I saw it in a packed cinema, and about half the cinema was laughing at the jokes.
Yep.
The other half were kind of like for the whole thing.
Yes.
So
that's what the first screening were like.
Yeah, you could feel the divide in the audience.
The second time, there were only 6 people in the audience, including me and my mate, and everyone was loving it. And like there was a guy in front of me with his wife, and he was like, "Oh, watch this bit's great." And all the time he was like, "This bit's great" and stuff.
It's got the makings of It's got the makings of a cult classic, pretty much instantly.
Yep.
It's definitely not for everybody. If you're someone who demands absolute coherence with their films, Inherent Vice is not the film for you.
It's not the film for you.
It's the whole idea is that Doc, played by exuberance by Joaquin Phoenix. He's absolutely brilliant.
He is.
He is tasked by his ex-girlfriend to help her.
Shasta Faye Hepworth.
Yeah, Faye Hepworth. Yeah. In like a scheme, like her ex-boyfriend's wife and her lover are planning on sending him to a loony bin.
Yep.
Are you confused yet? So you got to get your head around that. Also in this film, if a character's name is said, remember that character name.
Yep.
Because he's going to come important later. You need to keep up. Basically, you need to have your brain switched on.
Yep.
And what Doc finds is a spiraling conspiracy of paranoia, hippiedom, drugs, heroin, something called the Golden Fang. Dentists. Josh Brolin eating weed. And
so it's just going to be spoiler full this. So basically, the plot of the film, the entire film is Doc's ex-girlfriend comes round his house. She's been gone for like a year, and she explains that her current boyfriend, Mickey Wolfman, who's a property developer, Mickey Wolfman's wife is putting him in a mental home because he's going to give all of his property away because he's become a hippie. So while he's investigating that, he also has a parallel plot line where he discovers that a surfer, a surf rock saxophonist played by Owen Wilson.
Doc picks up three cases in the film.
Three cases in the film.
He's got tracking down the mystery of Mickey Wolfman. He's got investigating the Nazi guys with links to that Black Panther group. He comes in often.
Tariq,
and then there's the third one where Owen Wilson, his wife, who's a farmer, basically just drug-addled hippie. They're trying to settle down, and he's gone missing for mysterious reasons.
So those are the 3 plots in the film. They only go together slightly. So basically what happens is, during his investigation into Mickey Wolfman, he goes into the Golden Fang, which is a heroin ring that also runs a drug rehabilitation centre and dentists in a wide plot where they sell heroin and then they get people back off of it and they treat people's teeth because heroin what's the calcium in your teeth.
It's the whole package. So they'll sort out like the origin stuff. They'll sort out the source, bringing it over to America, and then basically spreading it, distributing it, and then helping to get people off it. Which you can, big corporations and all that.
Well, I think that it's obviously meant to be a critique from Pynchon and Anderson of like America. It's their way of saying big corporations. The way that the whole film in a way is about like escapism and like a nostalgia for lost times. That's why it's filmed on like 70s stock, and that's why there's all the flashbacks in it.
And it's set in an era where
of transition.
Where big corporations were moving into America. The hippie dream had died. Manson murders are mentioned a lot. Ultimate had happened. It's been discussed before in many films, but this film is one of the many that chooses this era where basically the whole idea of hippiedom is dying, and big businessmen are getting interested in hippies, you know, for their own ends.
One of my favourite shots in the film is the one where they have the flashback, which is brilliant, set to Journey from the Past.
Oh yeah, that's one of my best favourite bits.
But then pans across to an empty piece of land.
Yeah.
Next shot, the same pan across, it's a huge building.
A golden fang.
Exactly that, perfect, isn't it? It's a perfect shot where at first it's empty, and it was the exact same thing again, and it's this beautiful, massive building, which is the golden fang. It says everything about the film in that one shot, it's amazing. So basically, yeah, the full film is about this nostalgia. A lot of themes come across that are from Paul Thomas Anderson's other work. I think this is the third part of a trilogy of time in transition. So There Will Be Blood is about the transition from old America to new. Obviously you've got the beginning of it, Daniel Plainview's in the dirt, and then he builds a massive empire from that. That's supposed to be indicative of sort of that idea of manifest destiny, that kind of stuff. You know, coming from nothing, building up, capitalism in going against religion.
It's the destiny of America to rule these lands and control
the
lands.
So that's about beginning of 1900s.
1900s, yeah.
You've got The Master, which is about the transition from World War II era to sort of a 50s sort of ennui, that kind of like...
Well, I think it's a lot to do with like the... obviously, Freddie Quill is a soldier from World War II, but it's all about that kind of post-war generation where they're kind of lost and they are adrift. Like, I guess like the sailors in the film, they're adrift.
No meaning or anything.
Yeah, no meaning. They're trying to, you know, how do we live up to being the greatest generation? Which I suppose is kind of what Inherent Vice is dealing with, where Josh Brolin is like the traditional guard, and even by the end of the film, he completely breaks down, and Doc is the new generation, just freewheeling, doesn't care about. You know,
so again, time of transition. You've got the idea of two strong men up against each other that show opposing force, religion and capitalism in There'll Be Blood. The idea in The Master, you've got the same. That idea of someone who has no purpose in life and moving through against Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, Dodd, who represents that idea of always moving forward. He says in the film that he's a writer, he's all this stuff. So you've got that idea of the two things that came about post World War II. In this, again, I think the main relationship in the film is between Bigfoot and Doc.
No, that's central, I'd say. Yeah,
that and the Shasta one. Because I think the film was advertised really poorly as well.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's become like a flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's made something like 8 million on a budget of 20.
Not as big a flop as Jupiter Ascending.
No.
And that Seventh Son film.
That Seventh Son. What the hell is that? Yeah.
Well, it's going off track. It's an old legend where like if the seventh son in a family is in a line of 7 sons, gives birth to a 7th son, that son will be destined with like magic powers and foresight, and it's like an old British legend. I think the film's based around that, but it's bombed horribly. And the same for the Wachowski's latest flop, Jupiter Ascending. But yeah, it's Inherent Vice is advertised as being kind of like this kind of fun, kind of freewheeling, like you know, Wacky Phoenix is this wacky PI, and he's going to investigate. And the film's not like that really. There are some really funny sequences. It is quite funny.
Yeah. It's far more intense, I think, though.
Yeah. I don't think audiences were quite anticipating the mental kind of workout it was going to be. Lots of neck-bearded hipsters in my screening.
Was there?
Yeah, you know, trying to look intelligent at the end of the film.
It was mainly like older men in the ones I went. It was playing at Huddersfield, you know.
Jesus Christ.
3 screenings a day.
Jesus Christ. I saw it in Manchester.
Oh,
more educated. So, like, I think the film deals with really interesting themes.
Yeah.
I think the characters are really fun. I love Joaquin Phoenix's Doc. I think he's just excellent. My problem is that I wish the film was more fun to watch.
I found it incredibly fun.
I didn't.
I think if you can just go with it and you can...
that's the... I tried.
Yeah.
I like going like... I get what Paul Thomas Anderson was trying to do with the film. He's trying to make it a kind of like a... It's a creepy paranoia. So like the narrative reflects that.
Yeah.
I get that. But I don't think it was one Personally, I had no interest in rewatching this one. Like, I got to the end of There'll Be Blood and The Master and all the previous Paul Thomas Anderson films, and I was like, wow, you know, like I would happily sit down and rewatch that again. And I enjoyed it. I love the performances. I thought the themes are all worked really well. It succeeds on reproducing the paranoid mind of a hippie.
Yeah.
It excels in that.
Yeah.
I personally don't necessarily think that makes it like outstanding. As I was saying to you earlier, it's my currently my least favourite Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Yeah.
I would rewatch it to understand the plot. I'd rewatch it maybe after I read the book. Maybe I'd like it more then. But then at the same time, I don't think you need to have read the book.
I don't think you need to read the book. No. I think there's everything that you need to understand the plot is within the film.
Yeah. And I could definitely see it gaining cult status.
Well, I think a lot of critics really love this film.
Oh yeah. Well, it's very divisive.
Yeah, but I've read loads of reviews that said it's like one of the best films of the year in the decade so far. And
it's
stuff.
but that's the thing. But like on the flip side, you'll have.
I know, but I mean some critics.
Some critics, half the critics say it's one of the best. Same for Thomas Pynchon as a writer.
Yeah.
Half the critics say Thomas Pynchon is a hack. Yeah. And his books make no sense. The other half say he's amazing and one of the most best innovative writers of 20th century. And I think the same could be said with the film Inherent Vice. Half the critics loved it and said it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Other half say it's crap, makes no sense. Unfortunately, I lean towards it's a great film.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
But as it currently stands, I would personally have no current interest in rewatching it in the cinema. I would wait for the DVD. Yeah. And I would give it another watch. Certainly there was enough moments and scenes and great performances that I enjoyed. I left a bit disappointed, to be honest,
I loved
at the end of the film.
See, I had sky high expectations.
I know you did,
obviously, with the Master, and I thought it was even better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, really?
I just thought it was just amazing. I think there's such a feeling that every single moment in it is so great and profound and stuff. It's just amazing. Some of my favourite moments, pretty much nothing happened in them. There's like one of my favourite moments is he drives to the it's like a sex massage parlour.
Pussy Eaters.
The Pussy Eaters massage parlour.
That was a great sequence.
I know, but not even that. The bit he drives up and the motorbike's all like.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah.
But then he just walks up, stands on like the trailer and looks out. The music is so amazing and the way it's shot, like just big expanse, is so amazing.
That Johnny Greenwood soundtrack.
That soundtrack's amazing. Yeah.
Just a bit of the old radio there. But Johnny Greenwood soundtrack was stunning.
Yeah.
I
think also the main emotion from it is just sadness. That's why it's not as fun as everyone says.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, it's a film that I think I appreciate it. Yeah. Like I get what Paul Thomas Anderson's trying to do. I appreciate it more. Like okay, wow. Like I'm seeing this 2.5 hour film, which is completely meandering. The plots, while it is quite simple, the way it's told is incredibly overly complex.